Hey everybody, Derek here. Sorry for the delay in getting the next video out here. Things have just been super busy, but we wrapped up that motorhome down there on the Ohio River and we set a course for Hillman, Michigan. Hillman's just a small little town, but it's still what we consider home, even though we sold the house almost 4 years ago. There's no fast food, no stoplights. I graduated with 40 people type of small, but it's a great area though. And this is where all our family is. And it's also where my family's lake house is here on Long Lake, which is one of the nicest lakes in the area, in my opinion. That's where Lacey spends most of her days. I get limited time there because I'm so busy, but Lacey gets to hang out there almost every day. That's nice with the kids, which is awesome. And we'll go for a pontoon boat ride with the customer any opportunity we get. Well, last travel day before we get back to Michigan for the year, which means the last big travel day for months. It's kind of depressing, honestly, not gonna lie. But check this out. Can't tell me that's not a better use of space. Just barely clears everything. And making some progress here. I decided to cut a board here to screw that stuff down, but I cut it out where the batteries are because I didn't want to raise the batteries up any. Plus, that's gonna just kind of hold the batteries in place there, so works pretty nice. Carry on. Got the transfer switch accessible, got it tore free to be able to fish some wires and stuff through there. You had to tear this free to tear that wall out. That's the fun things with these vans. You gotta tear one thing out to get to another thing, to get to another thing, to get to another thing. Next thing you know, all you got is the axles left. Okay, we're making good progress here. Got a lot of the wiring and stuff done as for like the screen and wires pulled through and stuff. And then just getting everything mounted is a huge part of it. So we got everything in place. The inverter there, distributor, got the batteries there. So should be pretty close to being done tomorrow, I think. And hopefully those 150s will show up. Catch you guys tomorrow. Pulling a few wires here, so we got to take this from here and move it into there and take that over there and swing it around through here, and then we're going to pull these down and over and around. So that's what I'm working on. So what's the odds this thing puts out? I'm sure it puts out voltage, but you think it's the right voltage? Do we even know what the right voltage is? I don't know. Oh, there's specs on the back or not. We'll have to see when we tear it off, but let's find out. There's no way I'm going to be able to hold the phone and do this at the same time, but we'll give it a shot. Multimeter. If you own an RV, you should own a multimeter. Even if you don't know how to use it, somebody around you will. Or somebody will be able to talk you through it on the phone. Or there's this awesome thing, I'm not sure if you guys know it exists, it's called YouTube. You find all kinds of stuff on there. Let's see what we got here. $18 volts, and I mean, how I got the meter sitting on the panel. Oh, that's not gonna help it any. Looks like 18.9, 18.09. That's a crappy day. It's super cloudy out, so honestly, it's probably not all that bad. I would guess the VOC is probably 21, 22. That's typically what they are. But either way, we're getting it the heck off in here, and we're gonna put something much better in its place. All right, so we got that off. Still got to get wires down, but that's gonna probably gonna put entry gland right there. I can pull the wires down into the back to where the solar controller will be. This is what I got for some solar panels. These are 150s, guys. These little things. They're 18 by 39, like 18.1 by 39 and a quarter, I think is what they are exactly. So there's 450 watts here. I'm gonna get 3 more up there. 900 watts on an Airstream Interstate. You show me an Airstream Interstate that's got 900 watts on it without having a rack floating over top of things. I gotta believe this is one of the first. I mean, the last one I did with these, I only got 440 watts. Daggone, get the mail. Alright guys, so I got 900 watts up here. They all fit pretty nicely. You can still walk end to end. They're not completely wired. I got them put together in series, so these 3 are together in series, and those 3 are together in series, making like just over 70 volts. Going to a 150/70, so 2 groups will come together in parallel. I still got to get the entry gland and stuff in there, but Making progress. I'll get this cleaned up too. I cleaned underneath them. I just didn't get all of it cleaned. So this is where I put the solar controller at. The inverter used to be here. So, I mean, it gets good airflow down in there. I mean, there's only so many choices in this van, and I could have stuffed it under there where everything else is at. But I would have had to have, like, mounted it to the wall to access the water heater. This just seemed like a good place for it. It's out of the way. Solar disconnect I put up there. So whatever. I think that'll work pretty good there. So, carry on. Alrighty, we're getting close to getting this van wrapped up here. The customer's on their way to pick it up, so we're just putting the final touches on the sealant and a few things, zip ties and stuff. So I figured I'd show you guys what I ended up doing with everything here. So these vans are tough. It's hard to find spots to put the equipment. Really underneath the bed here is about the only spot. The last one I did, I was only able to get 400 amp hours, but I was using little 100 amp hour battle borns at the time. So it is nice, these big beard batteries, you are able to get more amp hours in these small spaces. So in this one here, we got two 300 amp hour big beard batteries wired together in parallel. They go to the catastrophic fuse and shunt through the cutoff switch, which goes to the links distributor here. That's all pretty standard. You guys see me do that 100 times. And then out of there to the inverter, the solar controller ties in here. One of those lines ties into the DC of the van. All goes back in behind there, which is where the water heater is. And then right there's where the transfer switch is. So if you do one of these, remember the transfer switch is under there. It took me a long time to find it in the first van that I did. Let's wander inside and we'll take a look at the screen and the solar controller and stuff that I put in there. So again, there's kind of only certain spots for this stuff to go. I barely was able to stuff it in here. I had to move around things to be able to get the screen in there, but I got the touch screen inside there. And I showed this a little bit earlier, but I'll show you again with the seat back on. That's where the solar controller is. So like I said, it's vented pretty well, so there shouldn't be any issues with heat in there. The factory cutoff switch there does still work. I kept that functional in this one. The solar disconnect I put up here in the cabinet, just again, seemed like a convenient spot for it where it could be accessed and it would be somewhat out of the way. Last, I'll take you up on the roof here. So these are 150 watt panels. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like they embellished what their rating is a little bit, but I've seen before they left it was almost 600 watts on the screen. So even if they're only 100 watt panels, even if they embellished them and they're not really 150 watt panels, they're still the smallest 100 watt panel that I could put up there. And before, all I've ever been able to get is 440 watts. So technically there's 900 watts here. I feel like it's closer to more like 600 to 700 watts, but it's still more than I've been able to get on any Airstream van. So I did seal some of the brackets with black sealant that you would maybe see from standing down on the ground rather than using white sealant. So that's it for this one, guys. We'll catch you next week with another install.